This is going to be the biggest and baddest full custom rifle build I've ever completed. Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm talking about all these components and parts and pieces that are going to become a full custom 300 PRC rifle. And it's a part of a larger series. I just kicked it off. It's covering 6.5 PRC and 300 PRC in depth. What it takes to build a rifle, what it takes to build ammo, what it takes to shoot at extreme long ranges, all with a data-driven approach. So I hope you'll subscribe with notifications because you're not going to want to miss any of the action. In this video, I'm going to go over all of these parts and pieces that are going to be a part of this 300 PRC full custom build. And in future videos, I'll cover the chambering of the rifle barrel, the assembly of the rifle, reloading, doing load development, and shooting to extreme ranges. I mean, this is going to be absolutely insane. So let's get into it. At the heart of this build is a Kelbleys Atlas Tactical full custom Remington 100 semi-clone action. This thing is super slick and it's ultra high quality. The body of the receiver is nitrided, and when you actuate it, you can feel how slick it is. And that means that no lubrication is required even in extreme operating conditions. Totally love it. It's a 416R stainless body, 4140 chromoly bolt, and the bolt is fluted. It's got kind of some interesting capabilities as well. It's got the oversized tactical bolt knob. It's got a flat nose design. Normally there's a recess and there's a counter bore in your Remington 700 chamber. This is flat nose, and the end of the tenon is going to be flat. Something a little bit different. Fortunately, Kelbleys offers all of their gunsmithing information right on the product page, which is really nice. So I have basically a print that I can work from, and I, again, will be covering that in future videos. It's got a TG ejector. Now this is interesting. It looks like it's inertially driven, but actually, if you look in here, when you open the bolt stop, you can see a little pin there. What happens is, as you slide the bolt back, that pin goes into one of the lugs and actuates the ejector. So right as you hit the back, depending on how quickly you come back, that will affect how vigorously the spent shell casing or the complete cartridge is ejected from the action. And what I really like about that is, let's say you're spinning on different barrels. You have a practice barrel and a match barrel. Well, you don't have to disassemble the bolt and take the ejector spring out. You can just use your headspace gauge, and the ejector just falls flat here, and it's not going to get actuated until it hits that pin in the bolt stop. The external bolt stop is also, I think, a really nice feature because of the way that it works. I always find the Remington 700 bolt release a little bit hokey to use, I guess. And to have this bolt stop and bolt release right here on the side is preferable, in my opinion. And this is why it's a semi-clone, is it has some of the features, but not all of the features of a traditional Remington 700 action. It's got an oversized recoil lug that's separate. It's a 1/4 inch thick. My other Remington 700, I believe, is 190 thousandths, so it's quite a bit thicker, and it's also pinned. So it's got these indexing pins. That means when you're spinning on your barrel, your recoil lug doesn't move with respect to your action, which is just definitely really handy. It's got an integral 20 MOA rail. This is a super, super nice action, and they're actually pretty affordable. They're somewhere right around the $1,000 mark, and as most of you know that know custom rifles, it's pretty easy to spend $1,500 or more on an action. So that's the heart of the rifle. Screwing into the action will be a barrel turned from this Benchmark Barrels blank. If you saw any of my content related to 224 Valkyrie, the Remington 700 bolt action rifle I built, that was with a Benchmark barrel blank, and so was the AR-15 I built for 224 Valkyrie. That was a part of that same series. Both of them shot 1/3 MOA, 1 3/4 inch groups at 600 yards. And I would say the Remington 700 224 Valkyrie with the Benchmark barrel blank is the most consistently shooting most accurate rifle that I have, period. And the lack of recoil actually makes it really nice to shoot as well. So for this project, what I wanted to do was to take two different twist rate recommendations. One from Hornady, 1 in 8.5, and one from Benchmark, about 1 in 9.5. They've had really good luck with 200 to 225 grain projectiles with 1 in 9.5. And just to see how they compare. How do they compare for accuracy, bullet stability, all of that. So for this build, I've got the 1 in 9.5 blank. This is MTU profile, 26-inch, 1 in 9.5, 5 lands, 5 grooves. And then for the 300 Remington Ultramag upgrade to 300 PRC, we're going to use 1 in 8.5, same MTU profile, same 26-inch. So that should be really interesting. And then we've got the Benchmark 5/8 by 24 tactical muzzle brake. I've got this on the 224 Valkyrie rifle as well, and I've got their pinch clamp version on my Howa 1500 6mm Creedmoor that I'm currently working on. I'll be doing a rebarrel on that as well. I like the look of it. I like the function of it. It's got the compensator port on the top, and this is one that you bore out to your preference. Normally I do bullet diameter plus 20 thou, so it'd be 328 instead of 308 bullet diameter. So I will go over that as well. I'm going to thread the muzzle 5/8 by 24, obviously for either a suppressor or for this brake. I might flip those back and forth. Really liking the Benchmark quality and handcrafted nature of these barrel blanks. They hand lap them. They can tell by the feel of the lapping process what the tolerances are, and they continue massaging and working those barrels until they're perfect. And that perfection translates to better accuracy. Absolutely. And so the barreled action will sit in an MDT ACC chassis for Remington 700 long action. ACC stands for Adjustable Core Competition, and what's really exciting about this package for me is kind of two things. Well, many different things actually. One is it's highly configurable. It's got the skeleton butt stock. You can kind of adjust every aspect. I've got a bag rider that's going to go on the bottom for my bench style shooting with a rear bag. That should be super helpful. It's got the vertical grip. Once you get used to vertical, you never really want to go back when you're shooting precision rifle. It's got a full-length ARCA rail on the ACC core chassis here, and it can accept magazines that are going to work great with 300 PRC. This is the 300 Win Mag 3.850. Now, 300 PRC has a maximum cartridge length of 3.7, so I'll have 150 thousandths of wiggle room. And I've got a semi-spec reamer, not an OEM reamer. So I'm expecting to get however close to the lands in the barrel I want with my bullet seating depth, and I'll have wiggle room on the end. You can kind of see that here. I have one of the magazines out of the package, and you can see that there's a bit of extra room. And so this chassis system should give me all the capabilities, plus I've got a whole bunch of weights. With the ACC, you can add up to 9 pounds of steel weights to the chassis, to the buttstock, and to sort of the core chassis backbone. And that's kind of a key part of the 300 PRC equation for this particular rifle. I want this rifle with the brake and with all of the weight to be something that's pleasant to shoot. And I believe with this equation, I'm gonna get to that goal, which should be really fun. Fun for shooting, up to a mile and beyond. I've also got a TriggerTech Diamond trigger. This is 4 ounces to 32 ounces, and I plan to run it probably just under a pound, where you kind of take that whole excessive trigger pull component out of the equation. And I found with the special that, again, I put on that Remington 700 224 Valkyrie rifle, it's great. It feels like point and shoot. It's almost like cheating. And with this trigger able to go even lower in poundage for peak force if I want, I'll be dialing things into exactly where I want. So this is all of the parts and components and pieces that I hope are going to make the best rifle yet. that I've ever built. And I might have to make some small tweaks and small adjustments as a part of the process. But I want to thank MDT and Kelbleys and Hornady, all of the partners that I've been working with, Benchmark, for their help solving the equation of what is a great 300 PRC rifle. From Dave Manson Custom Reamers, I have both a 300 PRC reamer and 300 PRC go, no-go gauges. We had a bit of a discussion. He's evidently building a 300 PRC rifle, so I've got a lot of people in the industry that have been very helpful and are also excited about this build. I have not decided on optics yet, so we'll get into that in a future video. So again, if you want to follow this series and the 6.5 PRC stuff and my budget-minded 300 PRC build, make sure you're subscribed with notifications. I've got a playlist on YouTube where you can find all of those videos. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I've got Ultimate Reloader shirts at the store. I'm on Patreon, and I'll have a link to the full article that will give you a little bit more detail on all the product links for this stuff. I'm excited. I hope you are too. So until next time, happy shooting and happy reloading.